Lucia. This is Openmike, and we are back to the second segment of our program. This conversation has gone so wonderful that I'm almost forgetting all the questions I had to present to Rowan. But I just wanted to highlight one part of St. Mary's College. When I was at college, there were like 100 students. But when Rowan was there in the 1970s, were 380 to 400. Now he tells me that there are over 700 students. St. Lucia, you hear what I'm saying? Over 700 students now attending St. Mary's College. Now, you still have one principal. So just imagine what Mr. Sion has to go through, because he's dealing with a far greater population, so to speak, of people. In a period where it's far more complex to deal, because there are several issues and challenges that present themselves today. People, between the social programs, the keeping up with the Joneses, getting to school, people are that much more educated. So the situation has been extremely complex. And on that score, I'm going to ask Rohan to fill us in with some of the challenges he's facing as a result of that.
Right, very good question. First, we need to have a professional and efficient staff, and thank God we have that. We have some excellent teachers at the school.
Question for you.
Yes.
Where you teach all from St. Lucian?
Yes, there are one or two who may not be. We have a couple Guyanese, there's one Jamaican, I can just think
but basically,
but St. Lucian's more or less.
And these St. Lucians, tell me something. They were trained as teachers.
Yes.
In my time, a bright guy would become a lay master. And
that's right. That's right. We still have a little of that. But in all fairness, and I will give this to the ministry and the Ministry of Education generally, they put in place a situation where most schools will have qualified teachers at this level, at least trained teachers. Qualified would mean having a university degree.
Now, quick question.
Trained means having gone to an
those
educational
teachers, besides being good at the technical side and the academic side, how do they fare? Because you have to be a sort of have some sort of a philosophy to work with a student.
Absolutely.
That's part of their training too.
Yes. You see, we have a process of selection. When they come into the school, we let them know what the school is about, and people know. In all fairness, when they come into St. Mary's, the school, in a way, selects and sells itself.
I can see
Teachers
that.
come in there and they realize they're not in a regular school, quote unquote.
Right.
Want to be careful here, but you know what I mean. Where they have to lift the standard to match the boys. That's some very bright boys there, some very sharp boys.
I know. I mean, when I follow the news regularly, I watch it, and it amazes me how bright these kids are.
And if you go in the classroom and you're not prepared, they will embarrass you.
Wow.
They will embarrass you. I mean, teachers find that out very quickly. You must know what. They will ask you questions for things that you never even thought about. And you must be sharp enough to work away around it. Because otherwise you stand in front of 20 boys and
look like an idiot.
And the boys will quickly brand you, mate can't teach. Or that lady can't teach, things like that.
And how many students do you have roughly in a class?
Typically, from 1 to 3, we have about 30, 32 in a class. When it gets to Form 4, we split them up. So it gets about 20, because we mix, out of 2 classes, we make 3 in the Form 4 level. So we end up about 20 in a class. So it is a little more manageable there.
Tell me something.
But it's important to know though that the process of teaching involves the technical knowledge of the subject and being trained to handle the students themselves. And the training now is seen after by the system in St. Lucian. So you have many more trained teachers than would have been the case in your time, and certainly in my time as well. So the quality of teaching has risen considerably.
This is the sad part. In my time, and if you were a slow learner, you had problems. But today, with the quality of teachers that you have, you're able to identify a slow learner at an early stage and be able to give him that extra attention.
Absolutely.
That is the key to education.
Yes, it does. You have to. You don't teach the subject. You teach the students. And that's important. You have to cater for the individual student.
Now tell me something. Are those teachers also capable of advising the boys? Because some of them, as bright as they are, some of them have not reached the full age of maturity to know which direction they want to go.
Exactly.
Like in a way, they would say to you, if we would suggest you that you follow, say, a medical degree or a legal degree or whatever have you, agriculture. Are you in a position to do that now?
We do that at the 3rd form level. The students select subjects for the CXC program.
Oh, good.
So at that point...
So they're not wasting their time.
Right. At that point, we have careers and career guidance seminars and so on, where persons come in and talk to them to give them general advice. Although we don't like them to specialize too early, man.
No.
Because you know, you may have an idea when you form 3 and completely change it.
Yeah.
So we still give them a broad base.
Yeah.
So they still do maths, they still do foreign language, they still do the liberal arts.
Yeah.
And so by the time they get to Form 5, although they have a particular little lean to one side, they still have other areas covered.
You see, some years ago, when I was in the last years at college, what I thought was not very good, you were allowed to drop a subject if you wanted. Now, does that still exist?
Right, let me tell you, that was one of the changes. You asked me earlier on, off camera, that what were some of the changes which I think contribute to the fact that the school with 700 boys can do so well. You know, we have very few boys who are not passing every subject, you know. Boys do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 subjects in that school. You can find, and the boys pass every subject.
This is unbelievable.
Just a few boys do not pass. Now, the reason we're able to do this is because of the timetabling that we have in the school. The boys do what they want to do, not what the class is doing. In your time, in my time, if you go to a particular room, you were stuck with that room.
That was so humdrum.
That was horrible.
Terrible, man.
That is one of the things I went through, and I really was committed to change it completely. Now we have a completely different system of timetabling. So the boys can give a list of the subjects they want to do. First, they do this around this time, and now over the summer vacation, my job is to sit down and make it possible for them to access all of these subjects they want to do by a block system of timetabling. And it works very well. Every boy in Form 4 who starts the CXC program is doing subjects that he wants to do, in addition to math and English. That's the only exception. Math and English and 6 others or 7 others or so on. And then, if he wants to do any extra subjects, he has to make a way to do it after school. Because the days are only so long. We only have a certain number of hours. And you can only fit in a certain number of subjects. So we give them 8 subjects during school hours, and anything else they fit in after school. That 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock period, they can do 2 or 3 more subjects.
Now, just a quick question. In my time, for instance, there was some difficulty with the students understanding the mathematics side. What is it that has improved the students today that they can quickly comprehend the math side? Although I still heard somebody talking about that. I don't know
who told it has improved. It has not improved.
Oh, okay.
At all. Math is still a problem across the Caribbean. Let me just give you some statistics to let you see what the problem it is. Last year, we're talking about the 2013 CXC exams, the pass rate in the Caribbean for math was 30%. 30.
Wow.
St. Lucia was, I think, around 29 or that same range. 29, 30, typically the rate.
So what's the problem?
And no, there are, let me just go on to tell you, there were a few schools in St. Lucia that had a pass rate in the 40s. One is in the 60s. We were 91, and the convent is 97 around there. So you see that, you see what's happening. So the top performing students are still doing very well in math. There are, however, many, a large percentage who are struggling. All kinds. If we knew what the problem was, I guess we would have solved it already. Clearly, I won't pretend to know what the problem is. What I know is that the boys at the school, we put things in place for them, because we get boys who are not necessarily mathematical geniuses. They're struggling too. A lot of them get programmed for common entrance, a lot of lessons, a lot of hard work for the 2 months before common entrance. They get a high score. They come to St. Mary's College, and then that's it. They sit back, I'm here already.
Okay, so
all lessons finish.
And
you see them starting to go back down to 40 and 50%. We get it. So we have to ensure that we bolster their efforts by trying to bring them back somewhere to where they were.
So it can be done.
It can be done.
You know, I'll tell you.
It can be done because what we know, these boys can do well if they are pushed. Otherwise, they will never score the high for common entrance. But you have to push them for them to do well. There are some who do so naturally, some who you have to push.
I take, for instance, when I was at school, okay, I come from a large family. And at least 3 or 4 of my brothers were excellent mathematicians. My brother Desmond, for instance, is a graduate of MIT, and he was a surveyor here, and he was a couple of years older than me. And I was struggling with mathematics, you know, and I kept on going to him all the time. And he lost his temper one day, and he said to me, "Look at me. Can you add?" I said, "Yes." "Can you subtract?" "Yes." Can you divide? Yes. Can you multiply? Yes. He said, well, why can't you do the mathematics?
Exactly.
You know,
these are the 4 operations that create math.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing is that I sat back a few weeks after my brother spoke to me, and I took, for instance, geometry, and I said, well, maybe I understand what he's trying to tell me, because when you go through the theorems, you know, you get a question, you say, well, theorem 20 says you have an isosceles triangle, base angles are equal. Therefore, if you remember that, so I said, you know, and I tried and I tried.
Systematic.
Yeah, but I still couldn't. And yet, I had my brother David, who was a mathematics genius, and this guy, you just put a problem and the man would come there in 2 shakes and he has the thing. And I'm saying, why can't I be like that, you know? So, and when I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Mr. Mario Michel, who I think, he was in education, I heard him saying many years ago that, you know, talking about the mathematics, you know? So it's amazing, up to date, it's still a bit of a problem.
Still a problem.
But tell me something, Rowan, I mean, since it's still a problem, in your humble opinion, what is the best way forward to try to deal with it?
Yeah. Well, the basic way of dealing with any problem of that nature is to ensure students get maximum exposure to teaching.
Okay.
That's one fundamental level. Clearly, you have to ensure that what the teaching is correct and all that.
Yeah.
But what you find is not happening in many schools. Math is treated as just another subject, which it should not be, because it's a fundamentally more important subject than the others. You need it for everything. Everything. Yeah. So math should get a little more service in the school than the other subjects. That's what we do in the college when boys are evidently weak. We give them extra math within school hours. We don't depend on lessons, as many persons do. Go and take lessons in math. You don't know what's going on in the lessons. The students may not even go to the lessons, let alone focus. So we ensure that they get extra. We call it remedial math. We have it during school hours. So the students who we recognize are struggling, and some will, because we have something like maybe 15% of our students who would struggle with math. We put them into a remedial program. So rather than having the regular 5 classes of math per week, they have 10 classes of math per week. So they get a chance to work on specific areas of weakness. Some things they will learn and some things they will have difficulty with. So we have a teacher there, a teacher who's particularly good and who is inclined to want to teach those students to do the extra thing. Another problem with maths, I think that really affects the schooling system, is that in the primary schools, you still have the old system where one teacher teaches all of the subjects.
Yeah, that's...
You know, and I don't know about that.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
So you have primary schools, 5 exam classes or 4 exam classes, and a teacher is in charge of each class. That teacher teaches English, general studies, science, maths, everything.
So probably
these teachers, many of them do not like maths.
Because at what age does a boy come to college now?
11.
Yeah, so and these are formative years.
That's the years, it's crucial. Right. So they have a teacher who is perhaps great in English language or even science. When the time comes to science, okay, we have science now, class, science now. And everybody says, yeah, you have science. Then when it comes to maths, the teacher doesn't like maths, you see, because she had a bad maths teacher herself. She said, okay, let us do maths now. Because that's how she feels. And the class gets the same vibe. Oh, no, it's maths now. And nobody likes maths because the teacher projects her
image
onto the minds of the students. And this thing is continuing over the years, which is why since your time and through my time into the current time, maths is still a problem. And it is a recycling situation. Maybe we need to get the thing in the primary school where specialists teach the math. Those who love maths teaches maths to the primary school children, like we do in the secondary schools.
Right.
See, by the time they get to the secondary school, a lot of the damage is done already.
But that's the problem. Because, you know, I'll tell you something. Many years ago, I was in the United Kingdom, and, you know, you've been to London.
Yes, I've been there
a couple of times. If you go on a train, nobody speaks to you. You see them reading a book, okay?
On newspapers.
And, you know, I was told, Ron, that when a child is born, just imagine it, couple of weeks old, the fact that the parents continue to read, the mere fact of the child hearing the pages turning, turns them on.
Absolutely.
Which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
St. Lucia, we are just at the end of our second segment. We'll be right back.